Have you ever seen a wind turbine and actually thought about how it actually works? Hello, welcome to Chat Science. I am Hayley Loren, and today we're going to be looking at those really weird giant windmill things that are actually called wind turbines. Now, we had a bit of an introduction to wind turbines in my last video when we were chatting about renewable energy, so you may actually want to check that one out first. So let's check it out. So turbines themselves can be up to 220 meters high, which is bigger than Big Ben, the London Eye, and a little bit smaller than the Eiffel Tower. So it's towering way above you. Now, if we start from the top, there's 3 huge rotors, which are up to 130 meters in length, which is about the length of 8 lorries. Pretty big, if you can kind of imagine that in your head. These rotors are what actually catch the wind energy and they turn, but we'll come back to that in a bit. The rotors are attached to a large box called the nacelle, and inside here is all the technical equipment and wires, which we'll also come back to in a moment. The nacelle sits on top of a tower, and the tower sits on a huge steel structure which attaches to the seabed. Now, this steel structure is what keeps the turbine sturdy, so it stops it from falling down. So wind turbines are basically rotors attached to a giant box called the nacelle, which sits on top of a tower, and then the tower sits on top of another huge steel structure which is attached to the seabed to stop it from falling over. Kind of cool. So in order to get actually on the turbine, the boat moves closer to the support structure where there is a ladder, and you actually just step off the boat and onto the ladder. So imagine you manage to get there safely, you're attached onto your wire, and you climb up the ladder and you make it to the access platform. Now, actually on the tower at the bottom, there's a door, standard. So what do? You go inside. But how do you get all the way to the top? Most turbines today actually have lifts. They do have a ladder as well in case the lift breaks, but the lifts are the best way to go. So you make it to the nacelle at the very top, and there's a whole load of equipment in there, including emergency supplies in case you get stuck. The most important piece of equipment here is the generator, which turns mechanical energy into electrical energy. How does the wind turbine actually work then? When the wind blows, the energy in the wind is transformed into mechanical energy as the rotors turn. The mechanical energy from the rotors turning is then transformed into electrical energy within the generator. So the generator is the important part because it turns the mechanical energy from the rotors turning into electrical energy that we use in our homes. So that is an explanation of one turbine. But offshore wind farms usually consist of way more turbines. In fact, they kind of consist of up to 100 or even more than 100, which is a lot. So we're still left with the question of how all of the electricity from all of the turbines are collected together and then sent to shore and then to our homes for us to be able to enjoy. So if you tune in next week, we will be looking at exactly that when we look at a wind farm in its entirety. Thank you for watching. I hope that was enjoyable and useful. Now, if you actually want any of the information that we spoke about in text format, then you can check that out on my website because it could be useful for revision or for in class or however you want to use it. But if you like the videos, remember to subscribe, and if you have any questions, just send me a message on Twitter because I'd really love to hear from you, and also comment below. So I will see you next week.